Just a second. I'm trying to see if this thing is actually working. It don't look like it's working today. It's fine. I'll just record it. Okay. So basically what I was saying is for this ECS one of the things you have to do is the secrets we created last week for the EC2 project. Edit that secret and add ECR registry. And to get your ECR registry, you can, and to get your registry, you can go to ECR here. So anytime you push an image to ECR, right, your registry is usually whichever one you see here, up to the .com, up to the AWS, up to the Amazon AWS.com. That is your registry thing. So if you look here, you can see all of them are the same. Then it will just be whatever image you are pushing. So I believe if you go under, this is public repository. Let me check settings for those of you. Or if you, I think how I got it is if you click create repository, right, you'll see it here. So just in case, if you don't have any repository already, click create repository. You'll see your ECR registry here. It is this one. So just copy it from here and add it here. That's all you need to do. Then once you've done that, the infrastructure is still the same. We are creating the load balancer, auto scaling group, VPC, everything, right? Another thing we are doing here is we are going to use Terraform to migrate our data into the RDS. So that's what this resource would do, right? So here, this resource would migrate our data into the RDS database, right? So the file we are using the script we are using will be in the project. So this is the project. You can see this is the file here. So that's what we are using to do that. And it is pretty much certain. I know someone asked me last week. Someone asked me last week. Let me see. So here, right? So what I'm actually doing here, it is right. So what we're actually also doing right here is when we use this to migrate the data into the RDS, right? At the point in our script where we need to enter the RDS endpoint, DB name, and username and password, right? In our Terraform script, this is how we are setting it. So we are using the user data of this EC2 instance, and we are setting this environment variable equals to whatever that value is in our Terraform code. Remember, in our Terraform code, it will pull our DB name, DB username, and password from the secret. So that's how we are passing those here. And our RDS endpoint will be whatever the endpoint of the RDS we create here. is, right? So that's how those value is passed to the script. Really, that's all. That's the only thing you need to change here. So once you, in the infrastructure, you don't have to change anything. But then on the project where you want to deploy the next app, just create a directory, call it next app. I already did it for you here, but for this one, you just have to do like a reverse engineering and see pretty much what I did here, how that is going. So here I have a backend file that just has my backend information, right? And I have my provider file that has my profile and information. And I have the output. That output is just printing my URL. And I have the main.tf. So in the main.tf, just like we did for the EC2, we have the local here. The local variables just allow me to use these variables, this variable and these values in multiple places. Because you guys can see I used it in the backend, not the backend, in the provider here. And I also use it in the main here. So that's what you can use local variables for. So my local variables, I just set it to the project here. Then my module is in the infrastructure directory, which is this, right? Then whatever variables is there in your infrastructure, which is all these variables, that is what you guys are seeing here, listed here. So we just specified the values for those variables. When you change this, really all you have to do is here. The only thing you have to update here is your domain name. And whatever name you are calling your secrets, you have to update that here. This ones can stay the same. Then you need to update your subdomain name here. And also your env file, that is the environment file that contains environment file that contains pretty much all your variable, it pretty much contains your environment variables, right? That is in the ECS project. For those of you that have done it, you know what I mean. That's the one we store in S3, right? This is the name that I'm calling it. So if I go into my S3 bucket, I have a bucket called AOS node ECS env variables, right? That's the bucket name. That is what you guys are seeing here, right? Because you need that bucket. In that bucket, then I have the environment file, right, for that project. So if I click on it, this is what it looks like. I'll download it. I'll show you guys so you can see. So remember this file. It's just a file that contains all the environment variable that your Docker container would need, right? So you need to update that bucket name here. This stays the same. Depending on what region you guys are using, don't forget to update your AMI here because AMI is different from region to region. I'm using US East 1. If you are using a different region, the AMI in that region will be different. So make sure you update your AMI ID here. And that's all you need to do here. So once you've add all those information, when you run this code, it should pretty much spin up your containers and also migrate your data into the RDS without you having to do anything else. And your application should be up and running. So I'm going to test it. Why? That's the first time I'm getting this. Hello. Hello. Yes. So while this is running, does anyone have any question? You guys can ask any question if you have a question.
Can I put this on my GitHub as a project?
I mean, you can't put my work there. I mean, you can put it there, but you have to make sure you understand. You can't upload. I guess what I'm saying is you don't upload what I gave you there and mark it as your work. You have to understand what is going on in the project. As long as you understand how we got to this point where this is, then yes, that's fine. The point of me giving you
Okay.
guys this is for reference. It's not um
Right.
to count as it doesn't count as a project completion for anyone. But if you um so here I'm giving you the next one. You can use this example to create the Shopwise application here. Then if you can do that, then that lets me know you understand what's going on. But this doesn't this is not this doesn't mean that you guys still, if for those that haven't done the Terraform project, this doesn't mean that you will ignore that project. You still have to do the Terraform project the same way I did it in your videos in your account. So that way you understand how to build something with Terraform. So for that project, you guys still have to go through it and finish that project.
Yeah, that's for the snapshot. I got you.
Yeah, hello, Aziz.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. I love the new structure, this the new folder where we have a separate infrastructure directory, and then we can use same code, same Terraform code to deploy multiple applications. Thank you for that. So my question is this. It's more kind of specific to your experience, to your present work environment. Is this how it is done, or it is simpler than this? Because while doing this, what was coming to my mind is, yeah, we can as well add Dotty T var, the .tf file to make it more reusable. Is it that as this doesn't is not the way it is done in this environment, or what? So do you understand my question?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So see, the .tf file is just like an additional thing we add um to give our variables value, right? So let's say we were deploying our app from here, from this directory, right? Remember, this is how we did it before, right? When, let's say we didn't have this, we were running our Terraform code in this directory and deploying it that way, right?
Yes.
Because we don't want to put a default value for all of our variables, that's why we need the TFVAS file. You understand? So
Yes.
if we run our Terraform code the way we did it before, where we just have, let's say this is the net, we call this next app, and we have all this Terraform configuration here, right? We have all these variables here. You see that these variables does not have a default value.
Yes.
So if we were to run Terraform apply, Terraform will ask us what's the value for this private app subnet, is it two-sided, and so on, right? So you would have to input that in at the time of running Terraform one by one. So whatever variables you have that you don't have a default value in, you would have to enter it. So to free us from doing that, that's why we will use the TFVAS file in this scenario.
Right.
Right.
So,
Am I making sense?
yeah, you're making sense. So are you saying that we cannot include the .tf in the Nest app instead of having the values in like in the main .tf, we had
Yes.
we had coded those values. So that was how the thought
Yeah.
came to my mind when I saw that. Yeah.
In this Nest app project that we have here, you can still you can still have your TFVAS file here, but then you will just be doing extra work that you don't need to do. Because in this project, in this one, we can just, because we know that this directory is specific to our project, there is no other project we'll use in here. So we can just input the values right away, because the way you are saying it is you can do that too, and it works. It's just a matter of preference. I even think in our project, in the video, that's what we did. We didn't even have to do that. That's the one the video that I recorded for you guys in the Terraform Magic project, we did that, right? So in this project, we are just referencing the value. But if you want to use the TFVAS file, you would have to now say VPC cider equals whatever variable you want to call it, var whatever, right? Then once you list all the variables here, then in this project, you would have to create a variables.tf file that is referencing all the variables you've just listed in this project. Then you can now create the TF file for that variable. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay, as a follow-up to that, okay, in your environment, like I'm trying to get, I don't know if you will be.
Yeah, at work, this is how they would do it. You don't need to create the extra variables file because you don't need it in this case, we don't need it.
Awesome.
You
So,
understand?
yeah. So in a situation where you want to deploy this same application in multiple environments, say, I don't know how your environment, your work environment is structured. If you have the dev, the staging, if you have such, how do you deploy this same application into those environments so that you have that the same infrastructure, this,
Sure.
having that consistency? Yeah.
Sure. So you will store this application in your GitHub repository, right? So in your GitHub repository, let's say the one I just deployed now is dev, right? Then all you have to do is create another branch, and that branch can be your prod, right? Then
Okay.
on that branch, whatever value you change here does not affect the dev branch. So when you are running your Terraform apply, you can run it from your prod branch. So in this branch, right, for example, the main thing is whatever value, let's say for your prod account, DB database instance needs to be T4 or something like that. You change this to T4 on that branch. Then the main thing is the backend file, right? The backend file has to be pointing to your prod account, which is whatever the credentials for that account is. So does your providers.tf. Does that make sense? So if I have, let's say, this is the code. This is the code I'm running now. Next app, right? Next app, right? So from this code, I'm going to create two branch, dev and prod. So I just deploy the dev one, right? This is this one you are seeing, right? So when I clone the prod branch to my account, right? The values of the credentials in prod will be different. You understand? Like this cloud provider that I'm using, that I've configured on my computer, is the credentials for one AWS account. So when you clone the prod one, when you clone the prod branch, right? Whatever credentials you are using here will be the credential of an IAM user that is in that prod account. You understand? So from branch to branch, even though you are using the same code, the values in them will be different. Are you following me or am I losing you? Wahab, go ahead. Maybe Wahab.
I am following you. You know what? I didn't think about GitHub branches. Now that you brought it, I'm like, oh yeah, that is the best way to
That
go.
is, yeah, that is how we would do it at work. But in this project, I'm just doing it this way. So let's say you want to do it this way. So I've also seen our work where we're not using branch. We are not using GitHub, right? We are using GitHub, but they stored everything. They stored everything in one repository. So what they would do is something. What they did is something like this. Well, just a second. So what they did is something like this. This could be dev, right? So that just creates, and I didn't mess it up. I know my computer has been a little bit slow lately. So let me just use another, let me just do it here. So let's say here, right? And so you get it, right? This will be in this dev next app, right? Would be where this is, right? This one will just be there. And your prod one would be like this. I've also seen them do it like this before. You understand? So it's just
so the dev NEP app will have a similar content.
exactly. Let me just even do it this way so you understand. So let's say we just deploy to dev now, right? This is dev. I'm not sure why this thing is not renamed. Cool. I'll just copy it down. Right. So rename.
Hey, Aziz, I think probably the best way to maybe show this will be maybe just create a new branch and just show, like, for example, the difference between branch A and branch B and how, like, it's still gonna work if we have different values for both.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. So this is this branch, right? Let's say your code is here, right? So if you want to deploy to prod, I've seen them do it like this too, where you just copy. Let me just copy this and paste it here. And this will be
Nice.
prod.
Acho okay.
This will be prod, right? So in your prod branch, your main.tf, your variables, I mean, your provider, you just use the different configuration for whatever account this needs to deploy to. So there are different ways you can do it. You understand what I mean, right?
Yes, I do, but for just clarify this. So you talked about two
Why do
different.
you need a show?
Oh, sorry. I think someone is on mute.
Okay.
Titus, you're unmuted.
Okay, so you described two different ways of doing it. One is the branch one. Then this one that you just showed is when you have one repository, and then in that just one repository you have different folders there for the prod. Is
For
that
the different, yeah, for the different branch, yeah. Actually, on my current project now, this is how they are doing it. So all the codes is stored in one repository for dev, all the different environments. So whatever environment you are trying to deploy to, you just go in that directory and run your code.
and run your code?
The main thing is the main thing that's making that possible is obviously is different directory, and
Yeah.
also your provider.tf is configured to deploy to the different accounts.
Different account.
So let's say this is a dev. Let's say this is dev, whatever, right? Dev cloud projects, right? And the prod that will be deploying to that account, and this will be prod. But it won't be the same credentials they will be using. It will be different credentials for their specific accounts. Go ahead, Wahab.
Sorry, Aziz, sorry to jump in. I have a question regarding this approach though, is so for example, if let's say we're adding new infrastructure, we're adding a new item. Now, let's say we're adding like a second database, right? So something that's existing, and you go into your dev folder and you add the Terraform, the configuration file for it, right? And let's say everything is good. How are you guys now ensuring that that same configuration is added to the other environments?
Yes, because in our you wouldn't add the RDS, the new database would not be
Yeah,
added in this dev folder. It will be added in the infrastructure,
in the infrastructure, okay.
which both of them are referencing.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I think
Yeah, I know it's kind of like,
yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of confusing. So this is a quick way that I'm showing you guys. I'm not using branches and branches here. I just have my module in the same directory as the project, right? So I think we discussed that before you joined.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I get. I understand
Yeah.
that piece now. Okay.
So
Good.
so now that we have the different directories that the project is deploying to, right? It wouldn't still affect
Just in the same
anything
files, right?
because
Yeah.
all the changes we will make is in the infrastructure, right? So when we apply our dev, it will pick up whatever the latest changes in the infrastructure applied. Then whenever we go and apply to prod, it will pick up the latest changes as well. And within prod, the good thing about it is within prod, we also have the means to change the individual value. So let's say for that database, we want to use a different instance class or whatever the value is, we can change it. So yeah, on my current project, this is how my last two projects, this is actually how they did it. Just like this. We are not using different branches.
A follow-up question. I'm sorry. So, given your experience of the two different ways, which one do you think is better?
Obviously, if you want to stick to the professional way, using GitHub, that's what GitHub and Git is meant for, to be able to branch one code and use branching to have multiple versions of the code. So I'll say that one is better. I mean, if you're trying to think about professional wise and using the tools for what they are meant for, I would say obviously using branch, but I like this approach because I think this is simpler.
Yeah.
Especially for new engineers that I just think this is simpler because if I'm deploying, it's just a matter of just looking at the directory. Okay, I know this is dev. I just have to come in here and run my code in here. And if I'm deploying to prod, I can see it here. So I think it's just a matter of which one helps which one does your team find more efficient to get the work done. Go ahead, Wahab.
And I think with this approach, it kind of makes it like it splits both into two separate like buckets. For example, infrastructure is different and the application itself is different. So we know if we're changing infrastructure, it would always be infrastructure that's changing. If we're changing the application would always be application that's changing. So I think, this might probably be an approach where we know, okay, for example, the application is going to remain the same for the next 1-2 years. There's going to be very minimal changes, and it's just the infrastructure that will change. So I would say I like this approach when things will probably stay the same. For one would stay the same for a while, and the other is going to change fast. I think this approach will work well, as opposed to using Git, because the Git process can make it longer, more complicated, because you have different branches and pulling and pushing from one to the other. But I
Exactly.
think when one is gonna remain the same for I'd say medium term, I like this approach.
Yeah. So I like this approach because I just think it's simpler, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing it this way. So in cloud, there isn't really a right or wrong way to do something, as long as it is an efficient approach and it's getting the job done. So there is nothing wrong with doing it this way. So otherwise, you can even do it where this infrastructure is not even, like I said, for this is just a sample, a project I'm giving you guys to show you how you can deploy your Nest app and your Shopwise app without having to have two separate directories, right? Another thing you could have done is you could store this infrastructure in its own GitHub repository, right? Then have all your project here, right? So there are several ways you can do it. You can store this in a different repository, right? Then just have the source, right? Call that repository, right? Then you can still now do your branching that way. You can have one branch that has the code for dev and one branch that has the code for prod. So there are several ways you can do it, but I think this approach just makes it much, much simpler.
This approach that you use as in this one, I think is only on the local system. So in a case that I want to push it to GitHub, I think breaking it down into two, like having two branches, like prod environment and the dev environment, that will be good, so that anybody among the team that want to clone, it will be easier for them to just clone maybe prod or dev environment.
So that is true. So it just depends on whatever approach you want to do. Let me see if this application came up. Then I'll show you what Wahab said. So yeah, that's the application. And it came up. So everything is 100% done with Terraform. So in the past, where the reason why I'm also showing you guys this is in the other projects that we are doing in our account, where you guys have to rely on the snapshots from when you manually deploy the project. This one is independent of that. So Terraform will just handle in the Terraform code we wrote, we will handle the migration. And we are also handling the migration of the data into the RDS database in this one. And you don't need a snapshot to do that. Because I get people all the time always say they delete their snapshots. So that's why I got this idea, just to create something like this that shows you guys how to do it this way. If you prefer to have a Terraform code, anytime you go and run it, it deploys everything without you having to rely on snapshot. Okay, so let's test out all the other stuff what I was showing you. I'm going to destroy
I have a
this
question,
here.
Assis.
Sure,
Mr.
go ahead.
Assis.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know that you've been creating DB for this the workload. Is there a way you can go into that DB and then see what the table look like? Like, the installation, what we install, like we use Flyway for FlyShare or whatever. So is there a way we can confirm that if that truly, live in our DB?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the way I'm confirming is if I can see my application, then that means my data is there. Because
Oh.
if my data is not there, my website is not going to work at all. Right. That's one way. But if you just want to visualize the data in your database, you can use tools like MySQL Workbench. That's for MySQL. So you can use MySQL Workbench to log into your RDS database. Then you can see the tables in there.
Okay.
I think in the past project that I have a video on that, how to use MySQL Workbench to log into your RDS, and you can visualize the data. So for whatever engine you are using, there is different tools to log into the database and visualize the data. For MySQL, it is MySQL Workbench. For Postgres, I think it is called PG Admin.
Yep.
And for different database, there's different tools you can use to log in. And another thing is because RDS is like managed by AWS, the underlying instance and infrastructure, right? So, but they still allow you to use those tools to log in and visualize your data. If you want me to do a demo on that, maybe next week I can do a demo on how you can log in. But I'll be honest, I don't know much about SQL. I don't even think I know anything about SQL at all, even how to write a SQL script.
You know what?
We
I'm
can log in and I can show you the data in it. Yeah, go ahead, Well.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with it. So next,
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, if you're gonna do it next week, I can send you, for example, the queries to run. I do that all the time to confirm the data is there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So what method do you use to confirm the query? Do you log in
So
with the tools or do you just run some type of CLI command to query?
sometimes, actually, I just run the I run the CLI command. So what I do is I obviously use the Bastion host, connects, change some of the security groups for the database just to at least ensure that I can access it.
Mhm.
And then, what's it called? And then um, download, log into the instance, download MySQL, then use the MySQL CLI commands to validate that the table is there. Another way I do sometimes is if I just want to, early on, I might actually create that database in a public instance just to test, create a database in a public instance, log in, use, log in with, just to make it easy instead of using using a bash, but just to make sure everything is easier.
Mhm.
Then log in, ensure the data is there. Then what's it called? Snapshots. Take a snapshot of the database and then use
Mhm.
that snapshot in the
Yeah.
private instance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just confirming that the snapshot I have has the valid data. And I use the CLI commands. They're pretty easy. I can send you like a website to get all those commands. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's two or three
So
just to confirm the tables are there.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yes, I think when I was recording the projects initially before we started using EC2 Instance Connect Endpoint, that's exactly why I was doing it. We were creating the database in the public subnet then once we do that, we create the snapshot. Then we can now use no, I didn't do it that way. Not the database, it was the EC2 instance for the server. But yes, there's always different approach to doing it, and at work, unless if you are, fortunately enough, if you guys are lucky enough to find a job that all these roles are separated, you won't have to query the database. Like on my last project, we have the database people that did we had the people that wrote the apps, database person that writes the data, the cloud engineer just worries about deploying it using the AWS infrastructure. So in terms of like doing query work on the database, I really didn't have to do that. But I've run some query before, but either found the command online. So if you ask me to run a query to query the database for specific thing, I'm pretty sure I can do it. I just have to do research on how to do it. But it's not something that I had to do on a day-to-day. So to answer your question, if you want to see if the information is there, you can log in with MySQL Workbench because this is a MySQL database. or there are probably, what I've said, there's CLI commands you can use. But in this case, I just go check my website if my website is up, because all those images and all those things you are seeing on my website, right, that is coming from the database. So if the database is not there, you're not going to see any of that.
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so let's let's look at the other approach that we're talking about. So if we were to use branch, so let me just create a new branch here, a new repository. I'll call it, what did I call it? I'll call it Terraform ECS. I'll make it a public repository. And I'll just add a README file, create a repository. Right. So I've created the repository, right? So here you can view your branches, right? This is the default branch. If you want to delete it, you can delete it, right? I guess you can delete it, right? Maybe I need to create another one before I delete it, before it will let me delete it. Okay. Oh, I know what I need to do. So if you can create, let's say in our work, you have dev, create dev branch. Let's create another branch. Broad. I'm only doing it this way because I want to delete the main one. So I can make my dev branch. Let me see. Okay. I know there's a place where I can make it, I want to change the branch to my default one of the branch, so I can delete the main one. That's the reason why I can't delete the main one, because that's the default branch. But I can make one of this the default branch. I haven't been a while since I did that in GitHub, so I'll tell. I'll change. Change it on GitHub, navigate to the main page of the repository. Okay. Okay, right here, default branch, right? This different branch. I'll just select dev, update. I understand, right? So dev is now my main branch. So if I go back to that repository, see I have 3 branches now. If I select my branch, dev is now my branch. I can delete this main one that came with the repository. There you go. It's gone. So you can see now I only have dev and dev branch and prod, right? So I can go to that repository again. I have two branches, dev and prod. Yeah. So in this, I'm on the dev branch. I can clone. I'm not sure if I have I have this set up, but let's see. I can clone this on my computer. I can clone this on my computer. So, yeah, let me just clone it here. It's fine. So it's cloned. Right. So I cloned it. If I ls, I mean, I have a lot of stuff in here, but you can see it here. All right. So I'm going to SSH into it. I mean, not SSH, change my directory into it. Then I can open it in Visual Studio Code. Right, this is it. So the best way to probably do this is, let's do it this way. Because the infrastructure, since the branch is going to be different, you don't want the infrastructure to be part of the thing. So you can just, I'll leave that for now. I'll just create another branch. I'll call it infrastructure. Right. And I'll add a README file. Create repository. I'm going to clone this repository. I need to go back out of that directory. Clone. And cd. So what I'm going to do is, you can see this is my infrastructure one. I'm just going to put my code for the infrastructure in that one, in that repository, and push it. Right. So I'll put my code there. But so there are two ways you can do it. You can do it with the folders here, or you can just do it with without the. So I'm going to move everything out of the folder actually. So no, let me leave it this way. So in the infrastructure, I have this here. So I'm going to, I've had that there. I'm going to push the code. Okay. So I'll push my code, right? It is in my infrastructure repository. If I refresh, you can see it there, right here, right? So this, we know this repository is always going to stay the same. So we really don't need to do branching on this one because both prod and dev will be getting their code from here. So we don't need to create any branch from here because this is going to stay the same. Then in the other one, so this is the infrastructure. I can close this. I don't need this anymore. Then in the other one, this is the project, right? And I'm on the dev branch. You can see dev here. So I'm going to copy this code here. Copy folder. I can close this so you don't get confused. So this is my repository. I just added the code. Let me just rename this. There. Next up, right? Then the only thing is this now needs to reference my GitHub thing. I forgot how to do it. Does anyone remember? But I can look in my notes. Just a second.
To do what, sorry?
How I reference my GitHub repository here.
The GitHub you
copy
there's a link, yeah.
You copy the link of the
Okay.
GitHub.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Then you now specify where the
Okay. All right. So that's my. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to. This is my infrastructure repository. So
yeah.
I'm just going to copy the SSH one.
Yep.
All right. And I think it's something like this. Then // right?
Yeah, //
And the name of the folder, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. So that is all I need to do here.
Then
Right.
I think you're gonna make put a reference to the to the branch too in the source.
The reference to the source, right?
I mean, right, that source attribute, you will need to indicate the branch where you're pulling, you're on the dev branch right here.
Yeah, but I'm referencing my
Okay, the
infrastructure.
infrastructure. Okay, I
Yeah,
get it.
that one doesn't have it. We don't need a branch for that because remember your infrastructure is where all your environment will be getting the code from.
Yeah, it's on its own separate repo. That's correct. Okay, thank you.
Right. So if they are all getting their code from that one place, right? Within the project here is where you can specify whatever value you want to change.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
So I'll save that and commit. Uh, Oh, maybe I shouldn't have. Let me cancel it. Before I do that, I need to delete this one because you don't want to commit this. Okay. Okay. All right, cool. So now I have need to get rid of. I'll just get rid of this tab. So now in my right, so you can see on the dev one, I have this here, right? So this is usually what we do, but try and see how I can do this. So there are two ways you can do it. You can clone the prod, you can clone the prod branch too and do the same thing. So if I close this one, I'm on the dev branch now. If I switch to, see the branches are here. I don't have the prod branch locally yet, so I can open my terminal here and just do it from here. Git branch. So I'm on the dev branch, so I can do git checkout branch. That's if you want to create a new branch, but I already have the branch, so I can do git checkout. Right. So if I now do git branch, so you can see I have the prod one now. Right. So yeah, on the prod branch, I can make my changes here. I don't know why this renaming thing always take forever now. It shouldn't take this long, but I'm not sure why. Okay, there you go. So I've changed it to prod. I go in the dev branch. Let me try this. I'm renaming it. I'm waiting for this to rename. I want to say something. Let's say, but pretty much this is how you can do it. You can have the different branch where you are using the code in the prod is different from the code in the dev. So I was trying to use the same one without having to clone it, but I could have, or how I cloned my prod, I could have copied the code in there and change it. But if this doesn't work, I'm not sure if I'm missing a command. If this doesn't work, I'll do it that way. And the main thing is I want to make sure the two branches are separate from each other. I'll wait for this to rename and we'll see.
Hi, Aziz. Is it because you're already in that folder in your terminal?
In my terminal? Oh yeah, I have to be in the folder because that is the
The folder you are renaming you already.
oh yeah, that's true. It could be, but let me see. It could be. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, thank you. So let me see. If so this, I need to look this up. Just I'll try GPT.
I think you can use command line in order to create similar directory, like you use dev for one and the prod environment for the other, then copy the content in the dev environment to prod environment. That should be able to solve the issue. It's using the console, like, clicking around.
I mean, what were you saying?
I see. All I'm saying is that you can just go back to that directory, then use like make a directory, like prod directory, then copy whatever the content that is in what's it called, dev directory, then copy it to prod directory. I think that should be able to solve the issue.
Yeah, that's what I did, but the issue that I'm having now is pretty much whatever I did in prod is translating back to dev too. Right. So you can see this is my dev one. Open terminal. I'm in dev, right?
Yeah, you can check out to prod. Oh. No, I think you can create, this dev environment, you can make directory like dev nest and then copy the content over there. I don't know. You see how they, or we can even go to GitHub and create another branch over there, then do the copy and like clone the prod environment over there.
Yeah, I can. Yes, I can clone it, but I was trying to, you know what? I'll do it this way. I'll do it this way. Let me try it this way. Okay. My dev is still there, right? So yeah, so that's why what I'm trying to do is I need to find the command, but because obviously I haven't. Maybe that's part of the thing. In my environment, I'm just spoiled with having it having the same directory there, and we don't use branch like that, right? So what I was trying to do at first is I was trying to git merge the dev branch into the prod one, but still maintaining the independence between dev and prod. But I think there's probably a command I have to run to do that, but it's not, whatever command I run didn't work because it was pretty much copying dev in prod. And there's no differentiation between them. So that's the issue I'm having. But since I cloned my prod separately, instead of merging my dev into prod, I just copied whatever content I want in my prod, right? So you can see my prod here. It has this, and if I switch my branch to dev, you can see it is different. So that's pretty much what I was trying to achieve. So, and I can also do it in the terminal, it'll be the same thing. So, give branch, dev, git, and you can watch here, git checkout. And you can see that's changed. I'll just rename this. And I'm going to push it. All right. So again, git checkout dev. You can see that's dev and git checkout prod. You can see that's prod. If I go in my GitHub repository, right, you can see my dev branch is showing dev. And if I switch to prod, it is showing prod. So that's what I was trying to do. The command I ran didn't work because there's probably there's a git command to do that. So I was trying to run the command. So otherwise, this is what I was saying. So now that you have two different branch, right? And we've verified that the branch both have different, they are independent of each other. You can see I'm in prod now. So now within your prod branch, your main.tf has to point, not your main.tf, right? Your provider will point to the account that is meant for your prod. Because as you know, when we talk about different branching, right? They are different environment is referring to different separate AWS accounts. So let's say this profile here, let's say in my prod account, I don't have any account I can use as an example now, but let's say in my prod account, I've created an IAM user there and I configured that IAM user's credential on my computer. I call it a prod cloud provider, prod cloud project, right? So this will be prod here, right? And the backend can be, let's say we have here, we can say, oh, okay, in our main.tf, right? Your environment here, this will be prod. Whatever value you want to change here, you just change it, right? Let's say here you want to use dbt4, right? And you just change whatever you want to change here, right? So you save your work, save all.
And of course, we point the source attribute to the infra lab. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to run it. So
yeah, okay, I understand. Just
yeah,
okay, thank you.
because I don't have my domain name and anything set up in a different account, so I can run the code, right? But yeah, so this will also point to infra. You're right. So let me just change it. Close this. So I need to find that command. And if anyone, Wahab, do you happen to know the command? Like what I was trying to do at first is, since I have my dev branch, I was trying to like somehow copy the code from dev to prod, but still making them independent of each other. But whatever command I ran was pretty much duplicating dev and prod, and they are the same. So I'll find the command later on, and I'll let you guys know probably next week. So here, this is pointing both, you are right, both environment will be pointing to the same infrastructure, but when I run this code in my provider, this is configured to point into the whatever account is meant for prod, and in my main.tf, my environment, I've changed it to prod, and whatever other value I need to change here. So typically in the IR environment, you might use, let's say here, we don't want to use T2, we want to use T4 micro or whatever, right? We just set all those things here, right? And we'll do save all, right? And I can push it. I can push it, right? So now you can see this is my prod. If I open my terminal, and I do git branch, I'm in prod, and I do git checkout. So you can see that automatically I couldn't find that file anymore. So if I go to my thing, remember we changed our main.tf, right? You can see it's still saying dev here. What about the providers, right? You can see the provider is still here for dev. And in the main.tf, I changed this in prod to db t4, right? And I also change this. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how you can use different branching if you want to go with this approach. So the main thing is, and when you do your branching, just do it to make life easy. Do it the same way I do it. Copy, clone your dev, copy whatever information you want to copy to dev, then clone your prod and copy whatever information you copied. Then it wouldn't be, they wouldn't track each other. But Git is meant for tracking. When I did Git merge, but there's a specific command I have to run to just, I want to copy my code from dev to prod so I can have it there, but I don't want them to mirror each other. I want them to be independent, but I don't know the command to do that. That was what I was trying to do the first time. But to make it easy, you can just clone your dev, copy your code there, then clone your prod, then do git checkout to your prod, clone that, copy your code there, and they will be independent of each other. So that's what you are saying now. So you can see here, just to show you again, this is my main.tf. This is saying dev. If I switch to my prod, right, you can see my main.tf in prod is saying prod. And that's how you can do it as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, brilliant, honestly. Thank you so much for, going through all this, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So if anyone, you guys too can do the research and please let me know if whatever, how the command that I can run, the git command that someone can run to copy one branch to another branch without the other branch tracking the changes in the other branch. There has to be, I'm sure there's a command for it. I just don't know it. I've tried run it before, but I don't remember. Yeah. So, but you understand that the main thing in each branch will be your profile here. Other than the values you have to update for prod, right? The main most important thing is your profile, which is configured for whatever account this Terraform code should be deploying to. Okay. All right. Does anyone else have any other question? So I think I asked ChatGPT. I want to see what ChatGPT says to do. Okay. Switch between branches. Git checkout branch 1. Git checkout. Git checkout branch 1. Check out the content of branch 1. Git checkout branch 2. Okay. Yeah. Check the content. Okay. Create a new branch. Create a new. Oh, I see. So I could have done it this way. If you want to preserve the content of branch 1 without merging it into another. Oh, I see. So this is what I was trying to do. So if you want to preserve the content of branch 1 without merging it into another, create a new branch. So I first check out branch 1, right? So I check out my dev. This is how you can do it. Then once you check out your dev, you can now run git checkout new branch and create your branch. Obviously, that's how we do it. We check out, you can do it this way. Create a new branch, then now that you have the new branch with the same content as branch 1, use git checkout to revert the specific file. Okay, so it's saying I have to run this, right? So I don't usually do it with the commands, and in my environment, it is usually always set up, and I just use it. But I like just copying my content in each branch, so that way I know they are different. But if you are using the git command, you just have to make sure that you are not tracking whatever command you are running is not tracking the change in the other branch. So that was what I didn't know how to do the first time. Okay. But does anyone have any other question? Okay. Well, you guys can run this ECS code and let me know. And you can also play around with the branching stuff if you prefer to have all your code in one directory, in one branch, and having separate folder for each branch, or you can use branching method like we did here and have your project in each branch, and either way is going to work. So what you are going to see at work is different. I mean, it just depends on the company. You can see the first way of having one repository with all the different environments there, which is how in my current project I'm working on, that is how it is set up. Or you can have it where they are using branching, and for dev branch, the code for dev will be there, and for prod, the code for prod will be there. You can see either one. There's no way to tell which method your company will be using.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you so much, Alexis. I feel I prefer the different branches because of the total isolation that it kind of gives. It will be difficult for someone to, by mistake, change anything because you must be on a particular branch and you must know that particular branch you are on while working. So I feel that different branches gives that total isolation of the environment than having it in just one big repository and then different folders for different environment. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
going through two different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, so I agree with you. I think having, and usually too, when they do the branching, that's how they would name it dev here. And another thing they would do is also name it dev here. So you're seeing it that you are in you can see what branch you are in. Because just the same way you can, if you have all your branch directories here, I agree with you that you can accidentally run Terraform. Let's say you are trying to run Terraform destroy in dev, right? And you are in the prod directory, you didn't realize, and you run Terraform destroy, right? So there is some side effect to having that. I agree. Just the same way you can do the same thing if you have branch too. Sometimes you could be in the wrong branch, check out the wrong branch, and deploy it that way. So the same thing can still happen, but I agree it is much minimized if you have it isolated like this versus if you have all the branches there. Or someone can just accidentally delete something from one of the directories without even realizing it. So what we use is we usually just still always name the directory dev. So when someone is looking at it, they can tell.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's pretty much all I have for today. Does anyone have any question before we end today's class?
Do you know what day you're gonna be like doing another class? I know you said you're gonna try to figure out what day you're gonna have towards the week. So you have you figured that out? What day you're gonna be doing another class?
No, I haven't figured it out yet.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't
okay.
figured it out.
Do you think you is gonna be in the daytime or the nighttime?
It's probably going to be night. But it's not like I'm not committing to teaching any other class, but I just want to be online. That way, if you guys still need help during the week, I'm a little bit more accessible that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's most likely going to be at night because I work during the day. So it's going to be it's going to be a time after 5 p.m. It is going to be a time after 5 p.m. But it is just very hard for me to commit to any time right now. So that's why I don't want to promise that I'll be online and I can't stick to that schedule. So, but most likely, definitely it is going to be after 5 p.m. What day is what I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And I'll keep you guys updated once I figure it out.
Hey, Aziz, I want to ask this. It's just to see your opinion about it. I noticed that most of the projects we have done or we are doing, if not virtually all the projects, we really mess with, monitoring. Could that be because you're a cloud engineer? I mean, more of a cloud engineer than a DevOps engineer. The reason why we don't deal with monitoring, like some monitoring tools to kind of incorporate into this project? Why? Or will it be too much to ask? Like, will I look like an Oliver Twist to say, hey, why can't we check out some monitoring part of, the infrastructure?
I mean, yes, monitoring. I mean, monitoring is part of cloud and DevOps engineers' work anyway, right? But when I was working on this project, because it's more geared towards beginners, right? So I just wanted to keep it to showing you guys how to use AWS services to deploy something in the cloud, right? Teaching you guys what the basics of everything like Terraform, Ansible, Docker, and so on, right? But by the time you finish all this project at this point, for those of you that have finished this project at this point, I take you, for example, or Wahab, for example, Titus, right? And other people here that have gone through all the projects. We are pretty much on the same level now. I don't think I know more than you guys at this point, right? You guys just saw me try to do the separation between two branch, but I don't remember the command to do it. I have to look it up. When I was trying to make the branch a default branch, I don't remember how to do that. I had to look it up on the documentation, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is for this program, I'm trying to keep it as basic and as when it comes to learning all the required tools as I can teach you guys. Then when we get to a specific point that I feel like we're both on the same level, then you guys can pretty much take it and run with it. Whatever you want to do with your knowledge. If you are interested in cloud security, you have enough information now to work as a cloud. to go do a project on that. If you want to do monitoring, you can do that. I'm not saying I won't do it here, but I just feel like if I've added to the project, anytime I need to update any of these projects, it takes longer for me to update if I'm adding way more stuff for you guys. So that's why I like to do it as a one-off project where we all work on it together. If you want to work on a monitoring project, yeah, we can think of something and we can work on one of those one-offs monitoring project. But I don't necessarily want to add it to the program because then it would just be kind of like a lot of stuff for me to update, and I don't want to have something that is outdated. You know, you understand what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why we don't have anything on monitoring. I
Oh,
guess when I was prioritizing things, I feel like what I'm showing you guys has more priority over monitoring. And you could also start work where um it will be the security team that is in charge of the monitoring stuff. You won't be in charge of it, right? So everything is just separate. I mean, it's just you really don't know what you'll get once you start working, right? So, Ahmed, go ahead.
Hey, good morning or good afternoon.
Good morning.
Yeah, I was gonna add something to monitoring. Yeah, for the project you've done, I guess it's more than enough. And for those that are probably done with it, they can carry on with monitoring. It's because monitoring is like an afterthought, right? Because it's more like a management of the infrastructure. Monitoring, like let's say you want to monitor the network throughput that is coming through our servers. You want to also monitor, the disk space and the likes. Maybe if you have a load balancer, we want to see if the backend tools, like the instances behind the load balancer, are healthy or unhealthy. So monitoring is just for like management. And for you, what you have, I guess, is more than enough. And unless you want to take a step further for that, but I just want to like say, we already have. Let's say if anyone is done with the project, we can now challenge ourselves further and say, okay, I guess let me monitor those instances or databases that we install. But yeah, but I don't think it's really gonna be something that will be of added value, especially when we are learning, because it's gonna be a lot of stuff. Like we are kind of drinking from a fire hose, and now if you put in monitoring, there's kind of add complexity to
Yeah.
the project that we are doing. Yeah, so I guess if for monitoring, I think I mentioned this before. There are projects out there you can use TickStack. So TickStack is essentially like Telegraph, InfluxDB, and Grafana. So what that does is that you can deploy a single instance. And in that single instance, you install Telegraph. So Telegraph is an agent that collects many metrics from, let's say, an instance, like a web server that you do for e-commerce. So Telegraph can go collect the metrics of that web server. It will send it to a centralized database, which is InfluxDB, and InfluxDB will now send it to Grafana for visualization. So it's a nice project that we can take on from where as this kind of a project. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I agree too. I'm not saying I definitely want to, at this point, I feel like we are all, you guys are my peers. Honestly, that's how I see you guys because, and I see you guys that way because I'm not afraid to make mistakes in front of you guys. And I'll show you guys that, I really don't know a whole lot either. Everything is just based on effort and everything is based on how I do research. You can see things that I didn't know. You guys can see in my chat GPT here, there's a whole lot of stuff. And if you check my chat GPT, you'll only find two things in there, either stock or cloud stuff. That's because those are the only two things I'm interested in. So, I mean, as of right now, so that's mainly what I use ChatGPT for, right? So I'm always learning to, and I'm always looking for ways to solve problem, So which is what I always say is that the main point of this program is to give you that foundational knowledge for someone that is coming into the cloud for the first time and don't even know what they are doing or where to start. I feel like my program is excellent for that. Then once you have that knowledge, I also expect you guys to not, once you are done here, don't just be done and just continue to work on different projects, continue to research different things and continue to build your skills because I'm not teaching you guys everything here, but I'm just teaching you guys the basics of a lot of the tools that you'll be required to know when you start working. But certainly, I have a lot of project ideas that I feel like we can do. And when I was talking about coming online at least twice a week, that is one of the reasons why I want to come online to do a specific project, just to even keep myself sharp. So when that time comes and I'm online, monitoring could be one of the projects we do. But I can't add it to the program because it would just be a whole lot. And as for someone that is starting as a beginner, they won't even have to worry about monitoring until they've mastered all the stuff we are doing anyway. So that would just be something that is at the end of the project. And I agree with Ahmed. I really don't think it adds much value to what I'm doing here. But it's definitely something worth knowing. I'm not saying you don't have to know it, but at work, I've never worked on it. On all my project, I haven't had to monitor anything, right? Because we have security team, they do all the monitoring stuff. But I've built CloudWatch dashboards, right? I've built CloudWatch dashboards, set up an alarm for something, which is, I feel like that is also in the scope of what we're doing, because here I've showed you guys how to build, set up an alarm, and I've showed you guys, and when I built the dashboard, I used Terraform, and you guys already know how to use Terraform. So if you need to build a CloudWatch dashboard, you can rely on your Terraform knowledge, look at the sample code and build one. So that's as much monitoring that I've done. But but as far as for like setting up all the different pipelines to monitor this and that, I haven't had to do that at work. So depending on what your title is, you might be working, you might be doing those things, or you may not. I think most likely you probably won't, but I don't know.
Thank you so much, Axis. And Ahmed, thank you so much. I didn't get the name of the app you set for the monitoring because of your speaker output. But if you don't mind, can you share the name on the Slack? I would love to kind of just in my free time look at that. And Aziz, thank you. I can't thank you enough, because my question came from the angle of wanting to know what you do because I believe you are more of a cloud engineer. So I was thinking maybe cloud engineers don't really deal with monitoring. Maybe it's majorly a DevOps engineer. So I really wanted to know if it's something you do at work. So the reason why I kind of asked. So, but thank you for the clarification.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. I don't do my monitor, and if any of you guys that are working also doing monitoring, please let us know. But
Yeah, Aziz.
I don't do monitoring. Yes, Amen.
Yeah, I do monitoring actually. I
Oh,
kind
wow.
of set up important monitor because we deal with a lot of networking compute resources. And I remember I told you we deal with firewall, right? So what happened in my environment, for instance, we have a firewall where all the other departments network, we call it egress, right? Information that are going out to the internet, they have to go through our firewall. So we need to like know the network throughput that comes through the load balancer and goes through the firewall, so that if the capacity of the firewall is reaching a certain threshold, so we need to say, okay, this throughput is too much, so we need to get an alert for it. So we kind of created the tick stack. I wanted to send a link to the chat. So the tick stack is just very important for, let's say, self-learning, or maybe at work is something you can propose to your manager or your team, so that we can leverage that. But yeah, I've done monitoring and I'll send the link, but the link will not explain detail. It just give you like an overview of how to set up the monitoring. It's called Tick Stack, TIG, then Stack. So that's what it's called. But yeah, if you need more information, I'll send you the link. But if you need more information, we can have a separate conversation for that.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Ahmed. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ahmed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much it today. So you guys can use that. So you have the Terraform code for the EC2 and you have the one for the ECS. The projects you've worked on, I know you guys have already completed those projects. For those of you that have completed it, try to deploy it this way, where you have your infrastructure, and instead of having because with those projects now, you have 4 separate directories with all your Terraform configurations file, right? Try to just do it from the module standpoint and deploying your Shopwise and your Nest from the infrastructure. And if you want to take it further, you can use the branching that we discussed. You can also store your infrastructure in a separate repository. So there are creative ways you can work on it. Okay. Well, do you guys have any other thing we want to discuss before flying to this meeting?
Oh, AZ, I just want to let you know, I got cleared to start my job Monday.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You,
Woo,
you,
woo, 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 woo.
congratulations. So
Yeah.
you probably is, I mean, since you're in the government and all that stuff, it's probably good. It's always usually slow around this time. So
Yeah, I got
everything probably won't pick up till January.
yeah, Monday I start from home. Just have a meeting. But the lady told me, no matter what y'all do, just make sure you bill for 8 hours. You know, I'm subcontract, so
Okay.
contractor. So I just have my meeting on my orientation meeting on Monday. And then they'll give me a time to come in and pick up my badge from the Social Security Board. So yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, it was crazy, but we finally got it done. I mean, one of the guys got fired and everything from that was doing my suitability check. He got fired and they had to rush the rest of it because he wasn't getting the stuff done. And they got another person assigned to my case, and he just moved it along real fast so I can get cleared. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah,
That's what's up. That's good.
yeah.
I'm happy for you, man.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You
Thank you.
deserve
Yeah,
it.
congratulations. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Shamika.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Shamika, congrats.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. If there's not anything else.
Aziz, any eventful stuff about investment in the past week?
Yeah, I mean the only one I made money on is Amazon, but then I
Okay.
didn't sell my. But this week wasn't really. I'll be honest, this week wasn't really a good week for me per se investing because, and it's not because of anything. It was just be out of my own stupidity, right? So I think I went into it way too excited, and I was probably going off the high of the previous week that I had, and I just made like some stupid decision. I pretty much whatever my rules are, I went against my own rule, and it cost me. So I ended up in total this week I lost money. I didn't make money, right? Whatever I made just covered for. Well, even the one I made on Amazon yesterday, I instead of me to take it out, I left it there. I was probably making like 5,000 when market opened. I left it, but by the end of market, I lost it. But in hopes that come next week, I think Amazon is going to go over to 200, which is where I set my strike price at. So hopefully if Amazon goes up on Monday, I'll make it back. And if not, I'll just sell. What I should have done is when the market opened and Amazon was here, I was making like, Amazon was here 199. I was making like $5,000. I should have sold it. Then when it came back here, bought it again. But I didn't. So now at this point, I've already lost my profit and I have to wait. Hopefully on Monday, it will go back up. Then I'll make it. But if I would have sold it here, that's what I'm saying. In contracts, if you are making money, which is one of my rules, I've said this before. When you are making money, take it out because there's always going to be that same contract can even present another opportunity during the day to make money, which is what happened here. I could have sold here, bought it again here, and make another money when it goes back up. So that's the mistake. I mean, this week I made another mistake I made is I traded Ford. Ford is a stock that is less than $100. And one of my rules is not to trade any stock that is less than $100. I trade Ford and that was on Monday, that was the one I lost money on. Then I found myself trying to chase whatever I lost all week. Then that just led to making one mistake after the other. So on Tuesday, I lost money on I traded put on Monday. Tuesday morning, I realized I lost the money. I traded AMD on Tuesday. During the day, before they report their earnings, I made double that money that I lost on Monday. I didn't sell it before the earnings. So by the time they report their earnings after hours, the next day, whatever I was making, whatever I invested and whatever I was making during the day, the next day on Wednesday, it was at zero because AMD missed their earnings. So, so it wasn't really a good week, but not because of, and not because there wasn't an opportunity in the market. It was just my own. I went against my own rules, and it cost me. But some of the notable ones this week, F5 was one. F5 stock. F5 was one. I mean, they went down. Let's look at the 5 days. So you can see on Monday, F5 went up from 218 all the way to 246. So whoever would have bought this made money. On Tuesday, it was Reddit. You can see on Tuesday, Reddit went from $79 all the way to 120. So that was a great opportunity. On Wednesday, it was Carvana. Carvana stock. Again, they went down a lot on Friday. Wow. But here you can see they went from 207 all the way to 258. And on Thursday was Amazon, the one I said. So every day there was actually something to make money on. So you can see Amazon went up here after they report their earnings. The only mistake I made is when Amazon was here, that was when I bought it, right? Instead of me to set my strike price to, I usually always set my strike price. Right now it's like here is 186.15. I could have set my strike price to 186.50 or 187. I set my strike price to 200. So when Amazon beat their earnings, they went all the way as much as 199, 199.96, but they never crossed the 200. So that was why I was making money. Then when they went back down, I was losing money. So which is another one of my rule is pick the next price up and pay whatever the premium price is for the contract instead of picking a price that is so high. So I made a lot of mistake this week, and that was my fault. It wasn't because there wasn't an opportunity in the market. There was great opportunity in the market, but I just made a lot of mistake. So coming next week, there's like a few companies that are reporting. The one that I'm most interested in is Palantir. That is on Monday afternoon. Datadog is also reporting on Thursday. I found out that all the tech stocks have been doing very well. I'm not saying that you guys should not do a research on it and just buy it because it's tech stock, but they've been doing very, very well. Especially especially the tech stocks that we use in like the IT field, like F5. I think in pretty much every project I've worked on, someone is using F5, right? They did very well. So, yeah, so the tech stocks have been doing very well. And these are the companies that are reporting this week. I haven't checked it out, but there's a whole bunch of them. If you can do a research and think about the business, how good they are, you'll probably find one or two stocks here that would you think will do well and you can make money from it. The one that I'm interested in on Monday is Palantir, but all these other ones, I don't know too much about them except for Datadog. So yeah, but nothing really much. I didn't make money this week. I lost money.
I shouldn't have asked then, but it's okay.
Please, why shouldn't you have asked? Like, when I was making whatever I made last week, I haven't lost all of it. So if I lost some, whatever I'm losing now is still part of my profit. I haven't lost my own money that I've invested in it, and I'm still probably up like 80, 90,000 that I've made. So it's part of the game.
Wait, hold on, Aziz. 80, 90K since you started.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Last week I made 110,000. Just last week.
Damn.
110, and I probably could have made more than that. Like I sold too soon. That's what's pissing me off. Well, it's not really pissing me off because it is what it is, right? But the two trades that were successful, Tesla and the other one, if I would have left them, at least for the day, the same way I left this Amazon for the day, those two trades, I probably would have walked away with like over 300,000. But because I sold them too soon, I sold one when it was like, when I was up like 54,000. I sold one when I was up 51,000. I made 7,000 on Palantir. So altogether, it was like around 110,000 that I made last week, just last week alone. So
let's be
Uh,
optimistic that the coming week will be better.
I pray so. I pray so. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of taking time, doing research on it, and those helps minimize the risks that is involved. I did my research. As a matter of fact, on Monday, all the picks that I picked to trade on Monday, all of it made the earnings. But I ignored all of it. For some reason on Monday, something came to my mind about this Ford, and it was just like maybe my mind was itching to lose money because I was just so locked on that Ford that I didn't want to hear anything else. Mind you, I've already prepared all my trades for the week, and Ford wasn't part of, because anytime I see a stock that is less than $100, I remove them immediately. I don't even look at them. Ford wasn't even part of my list, but on Monday morning, I just got locked on Ford and I ignored everything else. And I lost money on that. Then Tuesday, I was trying to chase the money that I lost, and it just kept leading to making more mistake after mistake after mistake the entire week. So,
Aziz, I need a quick tip. Is this still recording?
yeah, let me stop recording.
Yeah. All right, thank you. So I wanted to ask, like, how do you manage your time, especially because the trading hours are between working hours, let's say from 8 to like whatever, 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of like balance work and the trading hours? Because sometimes I work instant time, but my working hour is central time. So I kind of have like an hour advantage ahead. But so I was like, well, I don't want to get involved. Let's say if I'm doing options, trying to monitor the market and also having to pay attention with work, I'm trying to find a tip to see how you balance this option, because that's what is really making me hesitant to like start the options thing.
Yeah, I mean, the reason like I'm not day trading it, right? So what I do is like today I'll go through all this list, right? And I'll pick the ones that I want to trade for the week, the ones that I think are good. And by going through, it's a lot. Normally they are not always this much, but because this is earnings season just starts, there's a lot company that's reporting now. So that's why this is like an endless list. So to even start with these ones is a lot to go through. It's a lot. So, but at the least I can go with the ones that I recognize and just try to, you only need one or two trades a day. You don't need to trade all of it. So if you pick one or two ones you know about that you think are good company, you can trade them and hopefully they do well, right? So once I pick my trade, my stocks that I'm going to trade for the day, it's just a matter of during the day, finding a good price to enter. So, and that Robinhood has things like when you put in your trade, let's say you, Amazon is at here, Amazon was at, when Amazon was here at 86, right? If you try to buy it at that point, you will see what people are willing to pay for the contract at that point. Don't put the ask price. If you put the ask price, it will go through. They will buy for you immediately. So I'll just put the bid price and I'll put a limit price there. Even if it doesn't buy then I just leave it. And at some point it will buy. So you're not really sitting there and monitoring it, right? Because you're just trying to buy, because me, I'm betting against the earnings, right? So I just want to buy it and wait till the market close and they will report the results of the earnings. If my prediction is right, either I'm making money or I've lost all my money. So with all the earnings, there's barely any amount left the next day if I miss it. So if I make it, I'll make a lot of money in the thousands. And if I miss it, whatever I invested has gone to zero by the next morning. So that's the one I'm doing. So I'm really not spending time looking at it. But what I do is when I'm in a meeting, this is my computer, my laptop is in front of me on my desk. And on this same screen, I'll just open my watch list. Or let's say it's Amazon that I bought yesterday and they did well today. So I'm looking for a good price to sell, right? So maybe I think it's going to go up some more. So I wait for it to go up and I'm looking at my screen. And when I see opportunity, I sell. All these things takes like less than a minute. So I'm really not, I know it's kind of like a distraction too from work. It is, but I just kind of like juggle it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm not like actively trading one thing, jumping in another one. No, my trade is just always, I've picked it on the weekend. Is it that whatever I picked made money or didn't? You know?
I see. So you're just doing swing trade. Kind of.
Exactly. Yeah.
Makes sense then.
Yeah, that's what someone just told me that. Someone's like, what I'm doing is swing trading, not yeah. So I buy it the day before, I sell it the day after. That's what I do. Yeah.
So do you still have like a minimum or maximum investment capital? Because I remember one time you didn't have a hard fix, but eventually you did. I don't know if that changed.
Yeah, I'm supposed to, after this week, I get another reminder that I'm supposed to have the minimum and maximum, which I didn't follow this week too, which that's one of the painful things this week. You should have the minimum and maximum. Don't just go all out. But I think because I made so much money last week, this week I just thought I could go all out. But I was also betting that, well, at least one of my trades would hit and that would just make up, but none of it did, except for Amazon. So you should have a minimum and maximum. Don't go. Which is now I'm back to my minimum and maximum. So my minimum is 500, maximum is 1,000 that I can bet on the trade. Yeah, you should have that.
Okay, yeah, that helps. Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, just find time. Once you find time, you'll be able to do it. You know. For me, I'm really even doing it because I really want to quit one of my jobs, and I want to just be down to one job. I want to find other ways to make money. So I'm
As
trying.
you're literally making like a year salary in like a 5 month or so. So I don't know. That's this to me your second job.
Yeah, but the thing about what they will tell you about entrepreneurship, right? The thing about it is it's not always consistent. The paycheck is consistent, which is how they get us hooked, right? Because you can count that every 2 weeks, whatever they are paying you, you'll get that. But you saw I made 110,000 last week, but I could have made money this week too, right? I just need to, I learned from my mistakes this week, right? I could have made money this week. So, but I lost money this week. So sometimes it's not consistent. I think that is what is preventing me from being 100% dedicated to, you know what, I'm leaving this job. I want to focus on this 100%. Because with this one, if I don't show up, I don't get paid. So it's something I have to show up. But nonetheless, I want to do this as opposed to doing two jobs. I really just want to be down to one job. And other ways that I make money is from my own hustle outside of the 9 to 5. So yes, you're right. I can make a year's salary in options and running my website and all that stuff in just like a month or two. But I really, honestly, I really still don't know what is stopping me from. And I discussed it with my wife. She don't want me to quit yet. She's telling me to wait till December. So, but it's heavy on my mind now that I'm very close to leaving one of my jobs and just down to one job and focusing on this 100%. So, yeah. Anyway, so this is what's going on this week. You guys check it out. And if you guys find any company that you think is a good company, you think they are profitable, all that good stuff, let me know. So far, I really don't know a lot of these companies on this list. Okay. All right then. Well, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you guys. And
Yeah, hi, Aziz. Sorry,
Thank
can
you,
I have a
Aziz.
brief chat with you
okay, yeah, sure.
after the
What?
meeting?
Okay.
After the meeting.
Okay, yeah, sure. Who I didn't know
Junaid.
who's okay. Where sorry, I'm trying to look. Can you message me
Junaid.
on okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay, Junaid. Okay, I got you. All right.
Aziz, thank you so much. And let's go out to vote on Tuesday, okay?
Oh, yes, you guys vote, please. I'm not voting, but you guys vote.
Okay.
I
Me
don't
neither.
I don't even think I'm registered to vote, but please vote.
All right.
Uh,
All right.
and hopefully the best person win. And also, you guys, if you guys know about the stock too, all that stuff could play a part on
Mm.
the market, right?
Good
Some
news and bad news.
good
Yeah.
news and bad news. You guys can let me show you guys. You know Trump as a stock. Trump as a stock.
Is it going up?
It's
Is it going up
down.
or down?
That thing is it's so volatile. Watch. It's so volatile, right? Look, in 1 month, it has gone from $15 to $51 back to $30. So if Trump wins, right now it's at 30. If Trump wins, this thing can probably fly to 100. So those are the opportunities, but you just have to be able to guess whether Trump is good. I mean, hey, I don't know guessing is the right thing, but
It's a tight race, Aziz. Very tight.
exactly. But it's an
if Kamala wins, where her stock at? I want what's she into?
exactly. So you gotta do a research like a policy, right? The main thing is what is Trump's policy when it comes to economic, right? What is Trump trying to do? I think Trump is more into like favor of gas, right? And Kamala is more into like clean energy, right? So either of them winning, when one of them wins, you will see, and this always happens, you will see stocks of companies in those sectors start to go up like ridiculous. So I think Trump is more favor of oil and gas. Kamala is more in favor of clean energy. So you can go just check those sector. A good site that gives you stocks by sector is if you guys check out, it's called FinVis. This is FinVis. If you go to their homepage, you can see this here. They pretty much show you the stocks, the main stocks by the sectors. So I kind of give you this is like a map of how they did yesterday. If it's green, they were making money yesterday, and if it's red, they're losing money. So that's how another site you can use.
Yeah, Aziz, there is also one for Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, the MAGA Trump token.
Oh yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
was, yeah. So I mean, that's no matter who wins, there will be an opportunity in the market on Tuesday, and you guys can also see it like that. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, no problem.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you, AZ.
No problem. Bye.
Yeah.